Hi, I'm here today to talk to you about the multicultural literature I just read called The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And this novel was actually recommended to me by another teacher who said that this novel is sometimes um, on the banned books list because of some of the language in it, but that the messages and the humor and the way that the story is written is very appealing to a lot of students. Not because of the language, but because of all of how the story is written. Um, the story is about a boy named Junior. He is getting ready to enter his freshman year of high school when we meet him, and he is actually in the summer. Junior lives on a Spokane Indian reservation, is a Spokane Native American himself. Um, but Junior has always known he's been different than all the other Native Americans on the reservation since he was born. He was actually born with a birth defect that left him with water on the brain, and he had to have surgery. So his head is always a little bit bigger than everybody else's, and he has to be a lot more careful with different things and has had medical issues that he's had to address all along. But because of these deformities and because of some of these things he's gone through, he's often picked on at the res. He has one friend, though, that sticks up for him, and he's kind of a big kid that's able to protect him. His name is Rowdy, and Rowdy is his best friend from the reservation and has been his best friend from as early as Junior can remember. Rowdy is, like I said, a tough guy, and he's come by that naturally because he himself has been toughened up by his dad, who is an alcoholic that likes to abuse him and his mother when he's drunk. But we soon learn from Junior that Junior's parents are also alcoholics, along with many other Native Americans on the reservation. And one of the things that he talks about a lot that sometimes happen in real life as well is that alcoholism runs rampant on these reservations for a multitude of different reasons. So Junior and Rowdy don't live the best lives. In fact, they both live in poverty as well, which is also a big theme in the book, and how poverty is also something that runs rampant on the reservation. So from the very beginning, we kind of get this picture painted for us by Junior that he lives on this reservation, and yeah, his tribe has really cool traditions, and some of the things and the ways they lived in the past that his grandmother spirit has taught him about really intrigue him. But the endless torment by his peers, the alcoholism, the abuse, the poverty, all made Junior very concerned about growing up in this environment and being able to leave someday and pursue a better life. So Junior makes a decision to leave the reservation, at least for school, that is. There is a school on the reservation that he has attended his whole life, and he does very well at school, but he describes teachers that aren't necessarily the best teachers. They don't get paid that much money, and so usually they don't attract the highest qualified teachers that are out there. So he makes a decision that not very many kids make to attend a school nearby that is a public school, but mostly has white students that come from well-off families, and that school is Reardon. So you can imagine this probably didn't go over very well with Rowdy, his best buddy, the one that stood up for him his whole entire life, to tell him that he was going to go to this school with all these white kids. Rowdy saw it, as well as the whole community ends up seeing it as a betrayal to their tribe, and how it's looked down upon when people leave the reservation to try to further themselves because they see it as an act of betrayal. And so Junior has to take a really big risk, but he views it as he's already picked on and he doesn't fit in anyway. So what's the hurt of going and trying to do something else? So Junior enters this school, and It doesn't start off as smooth as he's hoped. You can imagine there's probably a lot of teasing and tormenting coming from kids because he still has those physical deformations, and he's the only Native American or one of the very few kids from a different culture that go to this school, and so it's really hard for him to make friends at first. But he does come across a friend named Gordy, and soon he discovers a pretty young white girl by the name of Penelope that he eventually is daring enough to ask out, and she accepts because she also is dealing with her own things and sees a different side of Junior that some of the other kids haven't taken the time to see, and that's his determination and his spirit and everything that's inside of him, his humor, um, that that is often missed by other people. So school is going okay at this point, and he decides to try out for the basketball team. And it's that same spirit that he had that got him to school in the first place, that gives him the determination to try out for the team. And the coach sees this determination and this work ethic, and he ends up as on the varsity basketball team his freshman year in high school. Unfortunately, the second game of the season is against the Welpenit, I think is how you say it, school, which is his reservation school that he used to attend. And Rowdy is on that team. And the Welpenit team crushes the Reardon team. The Reardon team is not that good, and they just absolutely crush them in this first game. And we get to see how Rowdy still talks to him, but the whole crowd is completely against Junior, and Junior feels like even more of an outcast than he is. And he's doing everything he can to fit into this Reardon school, including keeping all the secrets of the alcoholism and poverty away from all of the friends that he's met, because he doesn't want them to think that he's different, more different than he already is portrayed to be. So there's lots of themes that come up in this book, and it's really interesting to see how Junior battles between fulfilling his own dreams and betraying, or what some see as a betrayal to his tribe, in order to fulfill his own dreams. And then we also see some themes of how people live differently than us, and that some people that's what makes them happy. And Junior has to explore all that, and he has to go through many hardships, like losing a grandmother that he was very close to, before he really understands who he is and that it's okay to be different. So this is a book I would highly recommend. Like I said, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. It's a very quick read. It's really engaging. In fact, there are, open to a page, there are many cartoons. There's lots of them here. There's many cartoons throughout the book that the author has put in there that he has drawn. One thing I didn't mention, in the novel, Junior aspires to be a writer, in particular cartoonist is what he wants to go to college to be. And so you get to see cartoons throughout the novel that depict some of these things going on, and they just add a bit of humor and flavor that I think young adults would really gravitate to, and it just gives something a little bit different than a traditional chapter book. So if you have time and you're interested about reading about Junior's life, living as a Spokane Indian, but trying to better his own life and do something different than his parents, pick up this book by Sherman Alexie. You won't be sorry.